All right, so good evening, everyone. Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you guys are welcome to another day learnings, and today will be all about OOP and how everything plays out. So today is going to be different because there's not no there will be no much slide. So this is just a welcome page. So from here we'll go straight to code. But if there is any need for any slide in our upcoming classes, I'll try and create that. Okay. All right. Let's go over to my Visual Studio. Can you see my Visual Studio?
Yes, sir.
Sorry about the noise. Sorry. Okay. So right now I'm going to create a new project for our class today. Like I said I announced in the channel, we'll be using tax management as our demo project and example, right? So because of that, we need to create a new project for that. Create a new project. Yeah, this is it. For some of all that is, I've forgotten that flow. All right. So now I would need my console. I'll still use console for testing and all. Okay. Then give this a name. So what name am I going to do that? Give that. Okay. Let's give it console app 3. Then why for this? I'll just give it the name of the solution. Tax management. Yeah, tax management example. Can give it example. Then if you want to, where you would look the location of the file, you can actually come here and change it. But I'm fine with this location. Can I be heard?
Yes.
All right, thanks. So
Yeah.
precious Steve, you go village, your network. Okay. Next. .NET 8, that's what we'll be using. Right. Not touching anything. So create. So it's loading. I don't know why I'm excited with this OP. I'm more excited than Samuel. Okay. I don't want to use this. I don't want to use this. Let me go and change it back. I don't want to use this low so that our work will not look rowdy. I would create a new one. Right. Project. Yep. Let me delete that one that I see already there. Uh, Coming. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Oosh. Delete this. Delete this. Okay. So tax. Hope you guys can still see my screen.
We are only seeing the slide which says welcome to OP1.
Well, all right. How about, okay, let me check. Why? Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, I can see the
All
screen.
right. Um, all right. The tax management to console app. Great. Do not use top level. Yeah, I don't want to use top level statements. Okay. Bam, bam. All right. So, hello all. Welcome. So this is my console, which is always the program.cs. Like I said, the program is the like the entry point for your C sharp, right? The main function. Now we'll be talking about, let's go back to the draw.io. Can we see this?
Yes, sir.
All right. So for this now, I hope you all have gone through the ERD. So for some of us that made some suggestions, and let me check through those suggestions here. The first one is Precious said, I think the user table should be linked to the comments table in a one-to-many relationship and all. Okay, that's fair. All right, that's fair. That's fair. That's true. So I'm going to do that. Very valid. Okay. Dum, 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 dum. Precious, am I right? One to many.
Yes, sir, you're right. It's one to many.
Okay. Then Duncan said, I was thinking since the relationship between user and project is a one to many, the project table should have a user ID column.
Mention the like mention.
Good afternoon, miss.
Who
Mention
is
the like.
talking? Samuel, your voice. Okay. So Duncan, are you here? Hello? All right, he's not here. So he was saying project table should have a user ID, right? So this project should have a user ID. And there is actually a user ID, which is the created by. Do we get? So the person that created this project is actually the user. So it's referencing the user. Yeah. Are we following?
Yes, we're following.
All right. Then also in tax table, I think there should be a project ID. In the tax, there should be a project ID. I disagree because for you to have ID, yeah, it means you are dependent on you are kind of dependent on project, right? So the way it works now is the whole idea of this ERD. Another use case of this ERD is to help us fetch data right from the database. So assuming I want to see the list of tasks in your, I don't know, have you guys heard of all this project management to like ClickUp, what else again? I know of ClickUp, Jira and the likes.
Asana.
Yeah, Asana and all. You guys have heard about it, right? Who have not heard about all these tools? Let me see your hands. I want to be sure I want to carry everybody along. If we have not, if notice that one person have not heard about all these tools, then I'll go to a site just to show us the UI of it so that we can understand better. So, has anyone who has not heard of tools like Jira, Asana, and all? Okay, everyone has heard about it, right? Deligwe, you've heard about it. Deligwe, Emmanuel, Precious, Samuel. Hmm?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So we're on the same page. So how it works is, first of all, you come on board, you register with your email, password, whatever. And the first thing you do is to create the project. Without the project, can the tax exist? Can the tax exist
No,
without the project?
no,
Hmm? No, it's not
no.
possible, right? So
Yes.
for tax to exist, project have to exist, right? So we create the project first, and once you create the project and you're trying to fetch um all tax, pertaining to that project. This project actually has a list of tags as the property. So by fetching all the project, you're actually seeing all the list for that project, right? You might not get the flow now, but as time goes on, as we practice, you get it. Then secondly, you said project ID should be here, right? It's actually right. Yeah, people have their different perspective. The way you design it, it's the way you're going to implement and code it out. And I want to tell us the fact that it's possible to miss your step. And what do I mean by missing your step? You can design it the wrong way. And when you start implementing, you will go to you implement to a stage whereby you get stuck, and it's going to be difficult for you to query data, or maybe you are trying to get an information. It's going to be difficult because your design didn't capture that, right? So this is a learning phase. We are doing practical. So we can just work with this, okay? Then maybe if we get stuck somewhere, you now come back, and if there is a need to have the project ID, except to tell me the reason why we should have that project ID in the tags, the valid reason. But I believe you can always test things out for yourself, right? Are we good?
Yes, we are good.
Yes, good.
All right. Thanks. All right. Um, Bam, 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 bam. Okay, Samuel talked about common. Since they all have IDs, we can create a common class that holds all the ID. Yes, that's true. So that's a concept of inheritance and all. So when we reach today, we're not going to talk about those complex concepts. This is more like a very, very, very beginner friendly course. So I'm trying to be very, very simple and lean. Okay. As time goes on, we'll just one step at a time. Okay, Samuel.
Understood.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Let's see now. So what we'll be doing today, like I said in our previous class, all these entities you see here, the user, the comment, the tax, the project, the label, and all, they're actually classes in C Sharp. And the attributes you see here are properties in C Sharp. So today we would learn on how do we create a class and how do we assign attributes to the class in code. Okay, yeah, that's what we will do today. And if there is enough time, then we'll try to test them out. All right. So we'll start with the user. So what we are going to do is that we'll create a user class. That's what we'll do first. So let's go to the code and see how to do that. I'll go to my solution explorer here, which is at the right hand side of my window. Who can tell me what is a class? What is a class? Hello. What is a class? What is a class? Can someone hear me? Someone has forgotten what a class is.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me just do layman definition. Like a
Okay.
class is an object that takes in attributes that displays attributes. But when we talk about classes, it consists of fields, it consists of properties and controllers. Am I
Okay.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the components of a class. Who else want to try? All right. Okay, that's fine. He actually got it. So a class is like the entity you see there. Like, I explained what an ERD is. An ERD is basically the blueprint or the structure of how you design, how you want your house to look like, how you want the code to look like. So class is a blueprint, or you can see it as a template for creating objects. Objects are the entities, like the user, the project, the tags, and all, right? And also it kind of defines the characteristics, or you can say properties and behaviors that object of
Hello, sir.
that
Can you hear me?
type will have. Yeah, I can hear you.
Please, can you increase the font size of your?
Okay, it's tiny. All right. Okay, let's see. All right. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better.
All right, no problems. So classes, when you have classes, it tries to define the characteristics of what a user should have. That is the properties. Then the behaviors of a user, what the user can do, and what the user can do, we call that the methods. Right now, we are trying to go deeper into difference between what a method is and what a function is. Right? Methods are peculiar for classes. Okay, yeah, we use methods for classes. Okay, I know. So let's go ahead and create a class, right? So this is my console app, the console app. So what I would do here is I would come here, right click on this console app and create a class. I'll come to add. So this is add and this is class, right? The video is always there for you to go back and try it out, and I would advise to replicate and write things out. Okay, so I'll go over it again. Console app, you right click, you come to add, then you come to class, you click on it. Now we want to give this a class, and what's the name of the class? We want to give it user, right? So this is user. Now, hope we are all following.
Yes.
No, sir, I don't get that.
Sorry.
So after the add then class for the next night, not get.
Did you see, guys, see when I was typing in the? Okay, you might not
No,
see
no, no,
that. Let
no.
me don't worry. Let me go over it again. Don't worry, I'll go over it again. So I come here, right click, class, you add the class. Is this view? Let me make this view visible. So once you do that, you see this. Why is this not showing that? It's supposed to show that. Uh, you guys are not seeing where I want to type the name of the class.
No, we can see. I can see from here.
So I
This
can
is
see
it
it
now.
now. I see it now.
Yeah, this is where I'm typing the name. So once you type user and click add, you are going to see this view, right? Are we following?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing you see when you create a class is the namespace. Let's don't bother about this for now. Let's just leave that aside. Let me delete that. So first thing you see is the namespace. Now, what is a namespace? The first thing you see is the namespace when you create a class. The namespace is like a folder that helps organize your code and prevents naming conflicts and all, right? So it's like the name of your folder. So if you go over here, your solution explorer, you notice that when you created this project, it gave us this folder structure, console app 3. Are we following? Hello?
Yes, sir, I'm following. Yes, sir, I'm
Yeah.
following.
And because I right clicked here and created my class, it means whatever I create be under this namespace called console app3, which is this. You know, we created it by default. It came with the program.cs, right? So still under it, I had to right click to create a class, and the class was still under this console app. So the namespace actually is like a folder, the name of the folder. So for here now, we have namespace console app3. So this is telling us that this class user is located where? In this folder or in this namespace. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are good.
All right, any question before we progress? I'll try to be very, very, very slow. Okay, no question. All right. Now, secondly, now we have internal class user, right? Internal class user. So what does this mean by internal class user? Samuel, do you have an idea of what this internal, what does it mean? I know you have gone ahead, Sha. You have an idea?
Uh, okay. What I can say about internal is more like um, it's close to private, but I can just say what the class whatsoever you want to make use of this class stays here. You
Mm,
can't make use of it in another place.
okay. All right. All right. Thank you for that. So, like you said, internal class user, it means it's saying this class, whatever you do in this class will remain in this class. You know, we have internal, we have various types of accessibility or modifiers, right? We have the internal, we have the, let me try and write it out here as comment. Okay, we have here, okay, we have the internal for now, and public. We have the internal and public. All right. So we have the internal, public, private access modifiers in C sharp. So for the internal modifiers, what does it mean? It allows access within the same assembly. Not understand it now, but just let me just keep it here, right? I'll just continue. But when we start consuming, start using the class that we have created, for example, in our program.cs, we'll try to be calling the classes that we have created here. Then you see how everything works out, right? So what we are doing is that we are creating a custom class. C sharp comes with inbuilt classes, right? And what we do here is called, we are creating a custom class. What a user creates is called a custom class. Why inbuilt classes are what C sharp gives us to use. Okay. We'll come to use them as time goes on. So we have the internal class that says, so far as you are in the same assembly or the same namespace, you would access whatever that is here. Okay, just know that for now, right? So internal class user. So if I remove this now, C sharp is going to flag telling me that since you want to create a class, I have to give it a keyword. And what is the keyword? Class. Telling you that what you have created is a class. So that's why we have internal class user. Okay. Now, the components of a class. We have three components of class. We have the um, components of class. All right, components of class. The first one is the fields or properties, right? So fields are basically the variables that hold data, right? So second one is the constructors. We have the constructors. Constructors, there are special methods that initialize new objects. We might not do this today, but just know the definitions of them, okay? Then we have the properties, methods that get or set values. Then we have the methods, functions that defines variable, right? Don't get confused though. When we start dealing with them one by one, it will make sense. Okay. So now what we want to do is that we have created the entity, which is this user. The next thing is to create the properties. So how do we create properties? How do we create properties? The first one is that we need to create the ID property. And how do we do that? Okay, let's go to the code. So create the properties. We have the first thing is the modifier. Let me off this. Coming too much. This. All right. Thank you. I need your help again. All right. So we have to create properties. We do it this way. First, we need to give it the modifier, which could be public or private or whatever. So let's use public. Like I said, for whatever line of code you write, there must be a very, very valid reason why you're actually writing that line of code. So if you write a code and I asked you, why did you do this? And you're not able to explain or give reasons why you actually wrote that line of code, then it means you do not really understand what you wrote. Okay. So for whatever you do, for whatever line of code you write, there should be a reason for doing that. Okay. So I'm going to use access modifiers now. We have public, private, and all. So I would use public. I'll come to tell you the reason why I'm using public. But just flow with me. I'll be using public for my properties. Okay. The first thing is giving it the modifier, which is public. Second thing is the name of the property, which what we want to create is the ID, which is the ID. And thirdly, what we need to create now is the first thing is the modifier public. Second thing is the name of the ID, which is ID. And third thing is the data type. And what is the data type here? GUID. Who has not heard GUID before?
I've not heard of it.
Right. I think I know what I would do. I'm going to use
I've
int
not
for
heard
now.
it.
Yeah. I'm trying to really progress in far. Let me use int for now. Later I would come to GUID. Let's use int for now, so we don't get confused. So our ID takes data type of int. Right. Oh boy. Can you hear me? Sorry, my
Yes, we
network
can hear you.
is okay. So we have the access modifier. The next thing is the data type. And finally, the name of the property, which is ID. We have the modifier, the data type. This is how to declare a property, right? First thing is, let me write it out so you don't get confused. Steps to get a property, right? First thing is what is the modifier, which could be what? Which could be public, private, right? Public or private. Then secondly is the data type, data type of the property. Then thirdly is going to be the name of the property. Then fourth, going to talk about the how do you want it to be assessed? Like, do you want it to be a get and a set, right? For now, don't worry about yourself with get. What get and set means. Just flow with it, right? Get or set. All right, let's do this. Get and set, or get only, or don't worry yourself about this. So yeah, I'm trying to keep it very simple. As time goes on, I will explain what that really means, but just know that we have the public, which is the modifier, the int, which is a data type, the name of the property ID, and how do we write the last one is by opening this curly brace, giving it, making this a get and a set. So what this means is, this is saying we have created this. So if someone else consumes the class user, and by giving this thing get, you are saying the person should be able to check the ID of the user. This is what it means. It is a get, it is a getter property, which means I can actually access, get information about the ID this user. That's what this get means. Getting the ID of this user. Why set is you want to edit or impute a value for the ID. Get the difference. So get is actually accessing information pertaining to this the user ID. Why set is putting information or maybe assigning a value to the ID. Do we all get the difference?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
Great. All right. Thanks. So that is how we create properties. It's as simple as that. The modifier, the data type, and name of the property. Then do you want to make it getter and setter, meaning do you want people to access and get information about this, the ID of this user? And for setter, you want people to impute value or maybe change the value of the ID of this user. That's what it means. But there are instances or cases whereby you declare a property and you don't want people to get the information about this ID. There's a way we can do it to prevent users from getting to know what the value of this ID is. And same thing with the setter. I would not want, there are reasons whereby I would not want people to know what this ID, know the value of the ID. So there's a way to block that so people don't get to assign values to this ID. Don't worry, it's confusing now. Yes, but when we go into consuming or calling the custom classes we have created, right? When we come into calling them in our program.cs, it's going to make sense. So I understand if you are confused, because I was confused myself. So it's normal, right? Okay, let me ask, who is confused, still confused?
Sorry, I have a question, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Are there cases where we could declare a property without the get or set?
Declare property without a get access. All right, check the meaning now. Okay, yes, it's possible. Yep. So if you check this now, it is actually possible, but you try to check the default. By doing this, what does it mean by default? Because what we did is we explicitly defined it this way, right? But if you don't want to use this and you decide to use it, behind the scene, they're actually using the get and set. Do you get?
Yeah,
Yeah. But standard way, like standard way, and also like I said, there should be a reason for doing it this way. right? There should be a reason for doing it that way. So public int ID, then make it in a getter and a setter. That's all. That's all for creating the class and how we define properties. So we do same for first name, last name, email. So let's see how to do that. First name, this shouldn't take time. Name, first name, then get set, right? So I'll just duplicate this because of time. So we have the last name. What's the next one again? Password, right?
Email,
Okay,
password,
email, yeah.
password hash,
Email, all right. Password
password hash,
hash, all
role,
right.
and status.
Okay, role status, okay. Role status. Is that all?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So that is all. So that is how we, okay, Samuel, go ahead.
Okay. For this, when I check the what's it called, the design, I saw that the data type for role is role, while for data type for status is status.
Hey,
Yeah,
okay.
and also,
Yeah, I was, okay, go ahead.
you made mention of the get set of that. So, by logically thinking, I don't think password hash also should have a get.
Yeah, it shouldn't have a get, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. Okay.
yeah, I shouldn't have a get, but there's a reason for, like, I want to allow you guys see things for yourself, right? So when you see things for yourself, you alone, you'll be the one to tell me what you need to be exposed and what you don't need to expose. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
So that's why I'm just keeping it simple as this. Then later on, we'll start tackling those issues and bugs, right? Okay,
Yes, sir.
Emmanuel, go ahead.
Okay, I noticed all the property names you started with capital letter. Is that the naming convention
Convention.
for it?
Yeah, C#
Or
convention. Yeah, for your
Okay.
properties. Yes. I know in JavaScript they use small letters. Yeah, small letters. For C# is capital letter. Pascal. Yep. Hmm. Don't more today. I don't suffer. Oh. Just na. How many questions? Hey. Okay. So that's it for about the data type for row. Let me keep it simple. There is a reason when we go into enums. Yeah, I will still bring that up. So let's use string for now. Let's use string for now. Rows, the string. Yeah. All right. String. Uh, where else did I? Status. String. Yep. Okay. Where else again did I do that? Okay. I'll still come and edit that. There's a reason why I use project status. I shouldn't have done that now so that people will not get confused. Let me use string. Where else again? All right. String, string. Okay, I think that is all for there. User, um, all right, that's fine. So we have user complete. We have the user. Am I missing anything? Right. We are good with that status string. So let's go over to project, meaning we are going to create another class called project, and we do the same thing. It's as simple as that. The reason for doing this is I've attended classes, trainings. Like one thing I love doing is, even though I know it well, there's any training I would want to enroll to learn it. So there's this my colleague in the training, like we're doing it for over 5 months, and I was like, I create a class for me. And for 5 months, you have been learning C sharp and you still don't know how to create a class. I mean, that's not cool. So I want you all, at least everybody here, should be able to create a class and also create properties. Something as basic as that, right? So we are going to create another class, call it project. That's what we'll do now. Come here, same flow, add class, then call it project. Don't bother yourself about this for now. Namespace, this project, this break, internal class project. So we have the user, we have the project. Now I made mention of these are your tabs, and or maybe you want to see the user and project together. You can decide to move this. You see this cross here. This is telling you, do you want to move it up or right or center or right here or down? But I want to keep it here to split it into two. So once I do that, I see it like this. Did you get that?
No.
Yes.
Okay, let me do it again. Let me do it again. Presently, we have just one screen. I want to be able to see like I want to split my screen into two so that I can see both the user and also the project will be at my right hand. So like splitting it into two. If you have used the VS Code, you would know that flow, right? I want to split it so that I can see my project and here I can see my user. Do we get that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Great. So now I want to move what I would do is I'll move my project. Click and drag now. Click and drag and drop. Yeah. You click here, click and hold like is it right click? Okay. Left click and hold. Left click and hold. You're dragging it. So you see this cross icon. Yes, if you want to take it upward, or yeah, do you want to take it to the left? Yeah, do you want to take it to the right? Yeah, or bottom. But I want it to appear at the right here. So I just keep it here and release my hand. It comes here. Okay. Do we get that?
Yes.
Yep. Now let me just copy this and save us time. Copy and pasting. I'm actually doing copy and pasting, but should be careful with copy and pasting. Who can tell me why? Who want to tell me why? Should be careful when we are copying and pasting, just to save time. Eh? Okay, nobody wants to. Maybe you have not experienced it now, so it's fine. All right. The reason for this to be careful when you are copying and pasting. Okay, who can tell me why I'm actually copying and pasting?
So that the work will be much more faster, as in your editing will be
Yeah,
much
so that I
faster.
don't end up writing it again and writing it again. Then when I say be careful, meaning when you're copying and pasting, there are times you forget to change something. Like maybe you forgot that to remove edit last name and you push the code or deploy it, you realize that project is having last name. How come? It's because of your copy and pasting. So that's why I said you should be careful when doing that. Right? It's always advisable to write it out since you are beginning, since you are a beginner. I would avoid, I would advise you don't copy and paste. Try to write it out, like repeatedly write it out yourself. Don't copy and paste like me. Exactly. Okay, so project ID. Next one is we have title description created by. So we have the title, right? This is title. Okay. Created description. What else again? You guys tell me. Hmm? I'm waiting. Okay, you guys don't have access to the ARD. Created by. Yep. Now, this created by was created by a user. Am I right? Hello? Can someone hear me? Am I talking to myself?
You can hear you.
Ah, okay. So this created by, right, is the person that created the project. Cool.
Yes, the
I'm
user.
asking a question. Yeah. These data types you see here, they are inbuilt types in C#, the string, the int, and all. But we can also, just as the same way we have inbuilt types, inbuilt data types, we can have custom types, custom data types. So your class is actually a custom data type. Okay. But now, the person that created this project is actually a user. So it is since the person that created is a user and I already have a custom um, class called user, it is right to make the data type of my created by a custom class, which is this user that I created. Is anyone lost? Okay, ask me, okay, why did I do this? Yeah, tell me, why did I do this? Since you all understand this. Why did I do this? What's the reason why I did this?
We're calling like an instance of the class user.
Instance of the class user? Is that? No, no, not really. Okay, actually
So,
okay, go ahead.
so in as much as that user is a class, I think in C# classes can also be used as a in place of data type, just to show
Mhm.
to make sure the new data follows the
Yeah,
structure of that class.
okay,
So in this case, created by is by a user, and the best way to to represent, should I say represent, that user is using the class.
okay. All right. Although I was looking for the word reference. So the reason why I'm referencing this user is because on a norm, right, created by can actually use a string. So created by could just tell me who created this, just maybe the name of the person, right? It could represent the name of the person. But why I used user, reference user is because I want to get all the information about this user. That's why I use the user. Difference using user and using the normal string is that you don't get access to all this. You're not referencing the main user. That's when you're using string. But since I am interested in maybe in the UI, created by is going to display the last name. For me to access this last name, I must be referencing the user. By you referencing the user, it means you gain access to all the properties here. Are we following? Are we following?
Yes.
Okay, I'm hearing just few. We are five. How come? Marian Abate, how are you? Marian, can you hear me?
Good evening. Thank you. I'm here.
Longest time you didn't attend last class. I'm sure you didn't attend last class. That was
There's
empty.
there's a reason. If I tell you privately, you will understand.
Okay, it's fine, it's fine. You are just joining now.
Yes,
Okay, you can rewatch the video now, right? So
I will. I will.
understand. Right, thank you. Okay, all right. So created by next one is start date, end date, status, tax. Okay, start date. Right. Start date and date. What else again? Status and tax. Status and tax. I'll come to this tax later, right? Okay, let me write tax. So now you notice that in the ERD for start date, there's a data type called datetime. I remember when I began C# in my practice, I'm always using string for my data type up until I was told the better data type to use for anything that has to do with date is date time, right? So there's a data for all your date time or all your related property name that has to do with date. It's advised to use date time. So with this date time, you get the the format, the date time format, the convention for writing a date, which is a combination of the day, the month, the year, and the time and all, right? You get that. But if you use a string for your start date property name, it means you have to manually write those things yourself. Are we all following? Are we following?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So date, date time, date time. So we have date time here. Represents an instance in time typically expressed as a date and time of day, right? So this is provided by the system.datetime, the one that provides us with that data type. Then next is the status, the tax. Don't worry yourself about these squiggly lines you see here. There's a reason for it. They are called warnings. They are called warnings, right? They are called warnings. Your code will still run, but it's trying to warn you of potential bugs when you go forward. It's warning your potential bugs that will affect your code, right? But when that time comes, we'll try to handle each of those squiggly lines and all. Okay, so that's it for project. Very simple. Next is let's go to supposed to do this. Okay. Yeah, good night. Let's go to all right. Where is my ERD? Next is can you see my screen? The ERD.
Yes.
Okay. Next is the hand, this tax, which is the
List.
data type is list of tax. Now, why am I using a list, right? List is a data type. Why am I using is a collection? So let me open this to explain that. One of my right. I would share that. Okay. Right. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
All right. So there are times I want to we can have collection of items, we can have collection of students. So how do we present a collection of students using JSON? So this is how they do it. It could be a collection of students, could be like this. It could be like this. Maybe Gideon, Precious. All these are collection. Present the collection of things, right? This a list. If you have, I know I didn't talk about arrays, and I purposely left that, right? Because we'll be dealing more when it comes to collections or when we enter OOP. So we are gradually heading there. So list is basically useful when you want to hold list of data. You know, difference between string and a list is that string can hold just one data, while a list of a data type can hold multiple datas of the same data type. Are we all following?
Yes, sir.
Great. So now I want to use the data type list of tags. And how do I, okay, I don't need to do that now, because who notice I've not created a tags entity or a tags class. That's why I can't use list, right? Because if I try to use list of tags, it's going to tell me, there is actually, tax is actually a keyword. So the keyword now is overriding the, it's actually a class which is overriding, is going to appear that if we create our own custom tax, it will override what is in the C sharp. Do we get it? So we need to create, how did I know that is when you hover on it, you notice this class system.trading.tax, which is part of the system library, is part of the system library. If I hover on user now, this is telling me that this is part of your console, your namespace console app.3. So this is telling me that, okay, this is actually my custom user, but this one is not my custom class because I've not created it. So it's taking what is in the system library. Do we get that?
Yes,
And
sir.
that's not what we want to use. So we need to create the tax class. Then a shorter way to do that, instead of me coming here, okay, I don't want to start teaching us about shortcuts. Let me continue. All right. So Solution Explorer, come here, then class, then give it tax. Give it a tax. All right. Delete this for now. Delete this for now. So same flow. Right. So for the tax now, we have what? Title description created by title description created by, which is a user. What else again? Assigned, which is a user, which is still a user because it will still be assigned to someone now, right?
Yes.
Great. How many are we? We are 6. The gift, you are just joining. Are you following? Okay, well, she's not hearing me. Okay, so assigned, then
Good afternoon,
end
sir. Sorry.
date, Yeah, good afternoon. Are you following? No.
I just came here. I came in late. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, it's
just
expected. Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Dates time, which is end date. Every task has an end date. Okay. Right. Then status priority. priority status. Okay. Priority. Why do you think a stack should have a priority? Who can give me an example of what a priority looks like?
Um, the reason why a priority is, let's use for an example, like a customer, like look, I'm just using this as an example. A customer make a complaint about your product, and you looked at it. That complaint is actually delaying the customer to make financial of for the customer to make transaction on your platform. That can be placed as a top priority to solve so that the customer will be able to go on with his or her transaction. Whereas there is also another tax, another complaint, another customer saying that, okay, I think I'm having issues with this, but it's not stopping me making transactions. So you can actually rank the priority of different tasks depending on how important or how urgent it is.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So we can have urgent, medium, then the other one, I've forgotten the name, right? Okay, we all get that. Comments. Then this tax level, I would leave it out for now because it's more like a many to many, right? Many to many. So I will leave it for now so we don't get confused with it. It's when we have done okay, Emmanuel, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Actually, sorry to take you back.
No, go ahead.
My question is related to the data type for date. You're saying something about data type for date that
Yes.
use date time. Sorry, is that only does that only attribute to C sharp? Because I don't really know that in TypeScript or something like that. Is it only just for C sharp that it works?
Sir
Is
Adam,
date time the daytime data type?
fine, sir. No more. You know, I got to finish this NPT operation because people fit. Mm, okay.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, we can hear you. Emmanuel was asking a question the other time.
No, that's me. I was just confirming. I thought it was my network. Hello,
All
can you
right.
guys hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, I can hear
Sorry,
you.
my team lead was talking to me. That's why I dropped a comment to hold on. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, someone was asking a question. Okay, date time. Yeah, for TypeScript, JavaScript, I know they use date. Yes, they use date. We have used that before. The data type for any date is date. Only date. Do you get that? If I use date here now, it's not going to work. But there's nothing like date in C Sharp. But in TypeScript, it's date. Why for C Sharp, date time and that.
Okay.
Emmanuel, was it Emmanuel that asked me that
Yeah,
question?
I was gonna-
But you get it now, right?
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's dates for TypeScript, JavaScript, then date time for C Sharp. Okay, status, priority, what else? Comment, yeah, list of comments. So list of comments. Now it's telling me that comments, the type namespace comments could not be found. Are you missing or using a blah blah blah? That's because I've not created it. So I need to create comment now. This tags now, you check the project. It's now showing you it has overridden the what was in C Sharp. This is now showing your own tags. Yeah, which is this. Then for comment, I have to create a class, call it comment. So I'll do that same way. Mhm. Did you right click? Class, yep. Comments, yep. All right, delete these ones. Then okay. Right. Let me just copy all this. I'll still change it. ID. What else? We have, okay, we have tax ID. And this is where we need to reference that. So tax ID. For the comment, it has a tax ID. So for that, okay, it first of all, it has the ID, which is this. I would use int. Let me use int for all this. Later I'll tell you why grid is useful. Right, comment tax ID, tax ID, tax ID. So reference the tax. Then the other one is user ID, user ID, user. Okay. All right. So ID, tax ID, user ID. I guess that is all for now. We have user, project, tax, and comments. Don't bother yourself about this tax label for now. We'll come to that later. Let's just focus on these four: user, project, tax, and comment. Now, we have created the properties of the various entities. Next step is how do we call it in? How do we call it in? How do we create an instance? of an object. How do we create an instance of an object? We have defined it and all. How do we create an instance in the program.cs, right? So this is how we do that. First thing first, before a project is created, we need to create an instance of a user. Are we all following?
Yes.
Great. We need to create an instance of a user. And how do we do that? How do we create an instance of a user? So we come here. I want to create a user object. So first thing first, we are all familiar with creating variables like string value1 equal to the value, right? Now that's different, right? Now how we create instance is first thing first, we need to call in the data type of the object we want to create. So for this now, we want to create what? The user object. We want to create the user object. And how do we do that? We call in the data type of the user, which is what? User. Okay. Are we good? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Great. Then user, then the name of the variable name, the name of the user, variable name that will store the user, the details of the user, which could be user1 equal to, if I decide to use 5 here, it's not going to work. It's going to say cannot implicitly convert type int to a user object or a user class. So how do we write instances of a user object? Since it's a new user, we do that by calling in the user by calling in what? The new. So new is like saying I'm actually creating a new object, an instance of this particular user. The new is a keyword that is useful for creating instance of objects. Okay, so new, then user, then at the end I end it with bracket, then end it like this. So by doing this, I have created an instance of user1. If I want to create another user, it's the same thing. User user2 equal to new user. So currently now I have two user1, user2. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Same thing for user3. User3. So I have basically three users, user1, user2, user3. Now let me bring this user here so that we see this clearly. Let me make this private. So I'll show you the difference. Let me make this a private class. Element defined in space, namespace cannot be explicitly declared as private. Okay. If I remove this now, if I remove this, by default is private. Whenever you don't have a modifier before your class, by default it is private. So I tried explicitly defining it here, and C# said there is no need for that. So it's better to just leave it blank, and C# will know that that is private. Do we get it?
Yes.
Great. Now I've made my class, my user class private. So what are the implications of doing that? What are the implications of doing that? I've created the user object, user1. Now I want to be able to access the properties of this user. I want to be able to access the properties of this user in my program. So how do we access the properties, the members or the components of this user class? We do that by calling the variable name, which is user one dot. Dot is going to it's going to access, going to get the various properties of that user. So if you check now, you are seeing now by calling the dot now, it's showing you all the properties for that user. We have the name, the email, as you see here, everything, the first name, the ID, the last name, password, hash, row, status, everything you see here, you are seeing here, right? This symbol you see here, it represents property. Whenever you see this symbol that looks like a spanner or whatever, that is symbol for properties. Like I said, this is symbol for, who can tell me? This symbol that looks like a cube.
Method.
Method.
Yeah, that's a method. This is a property. So let's take note of that. Now I want to create an email for this user, right? How do I do that? I access the email property. Then I want to like give it email, say this. I want to give it the email, say this, right? Username dot email equal to gd@gmail.com. gd@gmail.com. That there's something fishy now. If you check now, okay, let me do something first. Hold on. All right, let's continue. Come to that later. So we have user.email equal to gd@gmail.com. So this is me setting the value for this email, right? But if I don't want to I don't want people consuming my user class to set value for my email. All I just need to do is put a private set here. So by putting a private and a set here, you are saying don't set any value for my property here outside. And that is why if you come here now, C# is flagging, telling you that this property user.email cannot be used in this context because the set accessor is inaccessible, meaning you can't actually assign a value to this email. That's because I have explicitly defined it here. Do we get it? All right, Samuel, go ahead. Hello, go ahead, Samuel. I can't hear you.
Okay, I was trying to ask that. Can you give us like a real life scenario how this is very very important at some point, because I'm trying
Okay,
to look at it that okay, if you are doing
all
that
right.
private, why can't you take away the set entirely?
Balance is an example. Maybe account balance. The properties of a user could be first name, last name, account balance, account number. What if you decide to make this in a way that they can actually set their account balance outside, which shouldn't be so. Account balance should be derived or gotten from other properties, like maybe withdrawals. Initially, you have balance of 0, but in your user class, you would have methods that performs withdrawals, methods that performs deposits, right? So it's those withdrawal methods, those deposit methods that would tell the value for your account balance. But if you allow it to be set outside, someone can actually impute any value for his balance. So use scenarios like that. You should make it private. But what if I remove this? Let's say I remove this. By default, it's going to be private. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Does that answer your question? Or
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
okay. All right. Yeah. You're welcome. So that's it. Yep. But for now, for practice purpose, we want to be able to learn how to assign values to a user object. So this is how we do that. User.email equal to this. Now I have given the value gidi@gmail.com to this user. What if I want to know the value? I want to know the value, or I want to know the email or access the email of this particular user. How do we do that? I want to console log it. Ah, me and JavaScript. Eh, been writing TypeScript since console write line. I want to user one dot email. Yeah, I want to access this. I want to get the value of this. So the value of this will be what? If I run this, I should see. Yeah, I should see. Can you see my console? Nah, I don't think you see my console. Let me make it visible. Yeah. All right. Can you see my console now?
Yes.
Right. So gidi@gmail.com. I have console logged this value and it's giving me gidi@gmail.com. But what if I don't want people to access it at all? I make that private now. I just need to make it private. Assuming I don't want people to know what is there. So that brings us to your question of password. I don't want people to get my password information and all. Do you get that? So you just make it private. And by doing that now, C# is actually going to flag saying property, blah, get accessor is inaccessible, meaning you are not allowed to know the value of the email, right? Are we good? Okay, so let's leave it as that. Any question? So it's as simple as that, creating a class, creating properties, and consuming them, creating an instance of a class or an object and assigning values to it. This is how we assign the value. We call the variable name dot the property name you want to assign value to. So if I call in, okay, let's try row. That will lead us to concept of enums. Yeah. Let's say I've created the user, right? User.email this. I want to create his ID. User one dot, what's the ID of this user? Is actually one, since is the first person to be created, right? But in the real scenario, see, when you're dealing with database, you won't be the one to assign a value for your ID. That will be done by the database automatically. When a user registers and signs up on the platform, the database will assign a value for that user automatically. So in the real world, in the real sense, you're not going to be worried. Don't worry yourself about your assigning a value to the ID of the entity. The database will do that for you. But for now, since we are making use of console, and there's no way for console to automatically do that, or we can actually write a code, maybe a code or a method that will, whenever a user signs in, assign a value to this. We can make use of maybe for loop or loops that helps us to do that. But it's the code we are writing, but database helps us to do that. But for now, we would be assigning values to the ID. Okay. So we have ID, email, then what else? The user first name. User first name equal to Jerry. Then user last name equal to Lawson. Then status. What else again? Password. What is the password of this user? The password of this user. User one dot password dash equal to 23456. 12345 What else am I missing? So I have the ID, email, then the status. So the user, there are times user can be banned. Yeah, it could be maybe banned. If you check here, let's go to the user stuff. A user can be active, inactive, or suspended. So that's the reason for this status. Okay. So maybe the user one dot status is what is active. It's actually active. Yep, active. So everything is cleared now. I've actually created the object user and I've already given values. So this flow you are doing is similar to how you do it in your UI, whereby you register and you go to your profile to update your first name. And when you update your first name, once you click submit, it saves, it goes to the backend and the backend saves that data. Do we get the flow? Hello?
Yes.
Sorry,
Can
Yes, sir.
go over that.
sorry?
I said, can you please go over that again?
Okay, I said the same way you see in your UI, your user interface like Facebook or all those applications where you register, sign up, and you go to your profile to maybe add your first name, update your first name, your last name, your middle name, your state of origin, and all. And once you update that, you click submit, save. It saved everything you have done in the database, right? That flow you are doing in the UI is the same thing we see here where we are actually setting, updating the user's email, which is gidi@gmail, updating the user's ID, which is this, updating the user's first name, which is this, updating the user's last name, and so forth and so forth. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Great. All right. So about this role now, what comes to your mind? You know, most applications, there is a need for it to have a role. Let's say you are building a school management system, you're building a school management system, and you need to consider when you hear role, you are talking about what should be seen by a normal user and what should not be seen by a normal user, right? That's a simple explanation of the role. So an application could have different roles. We could have the user, we could have the admin, right? So difference between the admin role and the user role is that the admin gets to see everything. The admin is the one that will be responsible for adding users to the application. The admin will be the one responsible for seeing the details of all the users. The admin will be the one responsible for changing the role of a user from a user to an admin. Why the responsibility of user is just to come on the platform, and maybe if it's a school management system, they can actually see their own result alone. They are not allowed to see other people's result because only the admin has that privilege. Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that's the importance of this rule. I need to know, I need to assign a role for this user. So since this is user, the first user, most application, the first user that um registers how it's written, or if you design it that way, you can design your application to in a way that the first user that signs in would automatically get the admin role. Then other users that registered will take by default the user role. So let's assume this user 1 is the admin. User 1 is the admin, right? So we have this. So this is user 1 information, right? We have user 2, we have user 3. So let's do something similar. I'll just copy this out. I'll just copy this out. User 2, user 2, user 2, user 2, user 2. So this could be precious, then ID 2. Like I said about ID, it's a unique property. It has to be unique for a particular user. So I don't expect your ID to be 1. It doesn't make sense, the next user. But we can have same name, yeah, because first name is not unique. Okay. Then password could be this. Active. Yeah, active. Then this is the user role. So we have this user 1 and user 2. As simple as that. So this is how we create an object, an instance of an object. Then we assign the values to their various properties, and that's something very basic, right? So in our next class, we'll delve into how we create um, the methods. Yeah, we'll go in depth into constructors, the methods, how we're going to call how do we make use of the constructors in our code in the program.cs, and how do we call in methods? Why do we need the method, and how do we call in it in our program CS? Any question?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe probably I missed because I stepped out for a few minutes. So that using console app in line 2,
Okay,
what?
yes. Okay, yes, exactly. I got to say that. Now, this user, right, for those that are familiar with JavaScript, yeah, JavaScript, TypeScript, when you want to use you want to use a class that belongs to another folder, or it's in a folder, the location is in a folder. What you do in TypeScript, for those who use TypeScript and JavaScript, they use import, right? Import this into this. But for C#, this user belongs to the namespace. It belongs to the namespace um, console app 3, right? Console app 3. So how do I import this? We import that using the keyword using, then the name of the namespace, which is what? Console app 3, right? Console app 3 and semicolon. That's that. So if had it been the user, let me create another let me create a class, new project. I'll create a class library 1. Let me create a class library 1. Okay, that has this class library 1. So this is maybe test class. We have the test class, and I want to use this test class in my program, right? So if I want to create an instance, so what I do is test um, test1 equal to new test uh, test, right? test. But now I can't actually access this. I can't access that because it is in a different namespace called class library 1. Class library 1. I should have, since I've named it here, that brings me to the fact that when you create a class library, what I did is I created a class library, right? And peradventure you made mistake in the class under your class library. You made a mistake. Don't rename it here. Don't rename it here. Rename it here, in here. So test it to automatically change it to this. Do we get that? Because if we rename it here, it will not reflect here. Yeah, I just wanted to tell you about that. So I have test, which is a custom class we have defined, but it's flagging because it's saying the type or namespace name test could not be found. Are you missing or missing a using directive or an assembly reference? So that's telling us that we have not imported it in our program.cs. And how do we import that? Using class, what's the name we gave? That class library 1. Class library 1. So by doing that, BRARY, class library 1. Let's see. Okay, it actually works. Okay, but I'm going to delve into that now. So the reason why it's flagging is because if you check now, the type of namespace class library could not be found. Are you missing or using directive or assembly reference? This is outside. We have two different libraries. We have the class library 1 and the console app, but it's not actually, we are actually using the class library which works, so but it's not seeing the program.cs. It's actually not seeing the class library 1. That's because we have not included it in the project reference. There's what we call add project reference. So by adding this class library 1 in this project reference, we'll be able to, it's going to dynamically see everything that is inside that belongs to this class library 1. Yeah, it's confusing, right? Okay, let me show how that is done. This
Little
works
bit.
fine. Yeah, this works fine, but C# is not seeing it. So whenever you use or you import a library and it's showing this, saying the type or namespace name, class library 1 could not be found. Like it can't still see it. So it's telling you the first step is telling you, are you missing a using directive? But you're actually using that now, right? Are we good? We're actually using the using directive or an assembly reference. So we are not actually taking care of this. It's saying now, since this error is there, it's now saying, okay, we have not actually added the library in our assembly. There are two assembly. This is two, as you can see, assembly as two folders or two different folders. This is the first assembly, this is the second assembly. So it's saying, since our program.cs is in this console app tree assembly, I need to add this other assembly here, right? The first step was calling the using. Second step is to reference, to call this assembly here. And how do we do that? We right click here, then we right click at dependencies. Then there's where we say add project reference. Add project reference. So once you click that, you would see where you are to click and select the library you want to reference, which is this class library 1. So you select it, and when you click OK, what happens? once you click OK, it now says the class library 1. Don't worry, it's confusing that as we do more examples, it becomes clearer. Okay? Like
Okay,
this now,
sir.
if I remove this now, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. That's the reason for that. That's why it's very important you read the message. Yeah, you need to read those messages and all. So it's telling you, are you missing a using directive? You use the using directive, but it was still showing that error. Now C# is saying, or you have not referenced the library. So that was what we were missing. And that's how I showed us how we reference another assembly by just coming to a dependency that contains everything, then reference the assembly. And that's how we did that. Don't worry, as we do more examples, it will become clearer, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. Any question? Deligwe, Ede Gift, Emmanuel, Precious, Samuel, Marian, are we good?
I have a question. Sorry.
Hmm?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you're saying for us to be able to do that new user online 12 and line 6, we have to do line 3 before it
You have
works.
to, yeah, you need to import, you need to import it. Call the namespace before you gain access to the classes under the namespace or the folder.
Whether they're in the same project of what do you call it?
But if
Whether they're
they
in
are
the same
in the
assembly.
But if they are in the assembly, if they are in the same assembly, C# will still tell you to call the using. Yeah, if they are in the same assembly, and let's say you are accessing maybe the tax needs to call in the user. I think C# is going to tell you to make use of the using and call in the assembly console app3. Oh, I didn't answer your question. No.
Yeah, so we are from program.cs, we are trying to call the user class. We have to use that using.
Yes. Using the, even if you are within, yes, you still need to call in the using, yes, to tell C# that you are currently in this assembly or namespace yeah. It's not clear.
Is
All right,
clear. Okay.
Are you
Sorry, one more thing. So
okay?
so after putting, but we did not do the process of adding it to assembly, just like we did in class library.
Sorry,
That's because it's in the same assembly, right?
you said what?
So because line 3 now, because the control app 3 is in the same assembly, we
Yeah,
did not go through the process of all those
of
like
referencing that project reference. Yes,
yes.
that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, good.
Yep. All right. Any other question? Guys have to understand this, so because your next exam or be your next task, it's going to be more advanced too. Okay. All right. Since there is no question, no stuff. All right. So thank
One
you.
more thing. Sorry.
All right. Go ahead.
Can you like just explain what and okay, the assembly in my head is a little bit different from what you're talking about.
Okay. Go ahead. Tell what? Yeah. Go
So
ahead.
assembly is like I know there's assembly language. So most programming language are compiled down to assembly language, then further compiled to machine language. So when you
Okay.
say assembly in this case now, I'm now confused. Like this, you're saying the same assembly, different assembly, and what. So can you explain what the assembly means exactly?
Okay, assembly for now, right? Assembly, see assembly as what example do I use to represent assembly? I'm trying to look for a good perfect way to explain this assembly. Uh, um, 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 we have two assemblies here, right? We have class library 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have console app 3, right?
Yeah.
Great. So assembly has to do with is a location. It's more like a location that houses different classes, right? It's a location that houses different classes. Let me just keep that as that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you can say um it is actually a file. It is a file that contains different classes. A file that contains different classes, or a folder that contains classes and all. Right? Emmanuel, you want to say something?
To continue, I actually want to ask a question. Sorry.
Okay. You say what?
I said I actually wanted to ask a different question. That's why I raised my hand. So you can just continue.
Okay. So that's basically that for now. So it's like a folder, like this is different assembly. You have the class library 1 and console app 3. So you can see that um as a library, a folder for now. Yeah, you can just see that as a folder for now. Okay. Do you get that? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's not like your normal the assembly language where you need to convert to the DLL or all those executable, right? The assembly here is just basically the folder structure where each folder contains different classes and different flow or files, right? Yep. Okay.
All right.
Okay, Emmanuel, go ahead.
Okay, so for my question, you were talking about the form. You're talking about forms the last time, and
Form.
I'm just asking, no, no, like I'm just asking this question from like a front
Okay.
end view.
Yes.
So like as a front end developer, you are probably like building like the workflow to where
Yes.
users submit their form, and then you have the fields that take the first name, last name, email, password,
Yes.
and that. So I've always
Yes.
wondered, how do you, because okay, like what we are dealing with now, this is we are giving these properties, we are giving them values. So
Yes.
how do you handle a dynamic situation whereby you don't know the user's details? Just like what you have in the front end now, that
Mm,
the any user just enters the form, and then while they are submitting it,
mm-hmm.
their data is being saved. So what
Okay.
about for the back end bit of things?
Okay. All
So
right.
let's say we're not giving them actual values. We want to make it dynamic.
Okay. If I should get you correctly, you're saying in the front end, let's say they register with first name, last name, right? So how is it that the backend is going to save that first name and last name? Is that what you're asking?
Like, how is it that the back end
Okay.
uh, handles different users?
Different users.
It makes this how will I put it now? Each of these properties now in a dynamic way that okay,
Okay, okay,
first
okay,
name,
okay, okay, okay.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes. The front
okay.
end, whatever we use at the back end, the front end has to use the same name, right? So if you are the back end, I used first name, this variable name, first name. Front end have to use that for their own variable when trying to get input from the user. So the backend will just see the kind of data the front end is using. So if the backend uses first name, FIRST name, and front end uses small letter f, there would be an issue. I don't know if you get that.
Yeah, I've actually had I've had that kind of experience before, where the endpoint was failing because I didn't use the correct
The property
the way
name, yes.
the way the property was written in the backend. I was
Yes,
writing
that's
it wrong.
why, yeah, that's why if you've heard of Postman or Swagger, right? How we do it at the back end is that we provide the front end the namings, the property names we use at the back end. So they would use that one to replicate same in the front end to avoid all those issues, right?
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
all right. Okay, so no question. All right. Thank you all, and have a wonderful weekend and try to practice. So next week will be hell in a cell. All right, take care, guys. See you next week. Bye.
So no assignment.
Um.